I see a wiener.
Jack, blind and deaf people know you're gay.
Gay, 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 gay.
Having some sugar in the gas tank, being light in the loafers, or maybe your grandma's friend was a confirmed bachelor.
Play it straight.
They don't conquer like alphas. They don't organize like bravos. They don't grind like betas, plot like gammas, or drift like sigmas. And they definitely don't vanish like omegas. The Lambda male. He is not an outsider because of power, but because of orientation. The gay archetype of the socio-sexual hierarchy.
Oh my.
Often flamboyant, sometimes tragic, sometimes heroic, and always a reminder that the hierarchy isn't just about power, it's also about culture. This is the Lambda male. What is a Lambda? Vox Day's hierarchy puts Lambda at the very bottom rung, below Omega. Why? Because it's not about dominance or status, it's about sexual orientation. The Lambda is the homosexual male. That's it. On paper, it's a box for guys who don't play the heterosexual dominance game. But in practice, it's more interesting than that. Lambda isn't just gay. Lambda is a style, theatrical, subversive, and yes, sometimes tragic. It's a different rhythm of life, often lived outside the strict win-lose ladder that defines the rest of the hierarchy. So, let's see what that looks like. Real-life Lambdas. If you want Lambda icons, look no further than pop culture. Freddie Mercury. More than just Queen's frontman, Freddie was pure Lambda majesty. He had the alpha's stage presence, yes, but what made him Lambda was the flair, the mustache, the outfits, the operatic drama, the unapologetic sexuality hidden in plain sight during an era when you couldn't just be out. He wasn't trying to win the hierarchy game. He built his own coliseum and filled it with thousands of screaming fans. Freddie's Lambda energy was proof that charisma doesn't need conformity. It needs a spotlight. Elton John. If Freddie was the fiery comet, Elton is the long-burning sun. Sequins, feathers, sunglasses bigger than your face. Elton turned flamboyance into global brand power. What makes him Lambda isn't just the style, though. It's the emotional honesty in his music, paired with the absolute refusal to tone himself down for anyone. Elton took the Lambda's outsider vibe and mainstreamed it, showing the world that being larger than life and a little sweet never disqualified you from greatness. Oscar Wilde. The Lambda prototype before the word existed. Wilde was brilliant, cutting, and far too fabulous for Victorian England. His wit dismantled social norms. His plays made audiences laugh while feeling attacked, and his downfall showed the cruelty of a society that couldn't handle his Lambda spirit. He lived in a world built by alphas and bravos, but he wrote himself into immortality as a Lambda martyr. Without Wilde, the idea of the Lambda might not even exist. George Michael. George's Lambda energy was complicated. At first closeted and polished, every bit the heartthrob. Then scandal hit, and rather than let it crush him, he leaned into the truth. He became a Lambda archetype for vulnerability, the pop star who lost his mask but found his voice. His songs, often soaked in longing and freedom, carried that Lambda theme of struggling between what society expects and what the heart demands. Tragic at times, but never a loser. pure Lambda. Anderson Cooper.
Which? Because they're hard to tell.
Yes,
On the surface, Anderson might not scream Lambda. No sequins, no mustaches, no flamboyant theatrics. But that's exactly why he belongs here. Cooper shows the Lambda archetype can be subtle. A calm, respected journalist with integrity who lives openly gay in a field once dominated by bravos and alphas. He doesn't play the flamboyance card. He plays the dignity card. Proof that Lambda isn't just about how loud you are. Sometimes it's about how steady you stand. Fictional Lambdas. Cameron Tucker, Modern Family. Cam is basically Lambda turned sitcom. Everything about him is bigger than life. The hand gestures, the dramatic storytelling, the way he'll turn a PTA meeting into a Broadway production. But beneath the comedy is warmth. Cam shows how Lambda isn't just flamboyant. It's nurturing, creative, emotionally alive. His Lambda energy isn't dangerous or tragic. It's family-oriented and hilarious, giving millions of viewers an approachable version of the Lambda archetype. Mr. Garrison, South Park. If Cam is lovable Lambda, Garrison is chaotic Lambda. Closeted, out, in denial. Flamboyant, trans, president. He's the exaggerated, satirical version of every identity crisis rolled into one. What makes him Lambda isn't just being gay. It's his refusal to ever stay in one box. He embodies the messiness of Lambda energy, sometimes endearing, often uncomfortable, but always outside the straight path. He's parody, yes, but parody works because it has truth in it. Ron Kray, legend. Ron is the shadow Lambda, violent, dangerous, but unashamed. In a world of hard gangster alphas, he stood out by being openly gay and daring anyone to challenge him on it. Tom Hardy's performance makes Ron a perfect Lambda archetype, blending menace with camp, mixing ruthlessness with flamboyance. It's proof that Lambda isn't always harmless fun. Sometimes it's terrifying to those who expect conformity. Renly Baratheon, Game of Thrones. Renly was handsome, charming, and full of kingly charisma, but his Lambda energy put him on a different path. His love affair with Loras Tyrell wasn't shouted from rooftops, but it was obvious to anyone paying attention. What makes Renly Lambda isn't just being gay, it's that his claim to power was undermined by a society that wasn't ready for a gay king. His story is the Lambda tragedy: power, promise, but no place in the hierarchy's brutal game. Waylon Smithers, The Simpsons. Smithers might be the most iconic Lambda-coded character in TV history. For years, the writers played the is he or isn't he game, but everyone knew. His obsessive loyalty to Mr. Burns, his coded comments, his secret hobbies, all Lambda energy hidden behind politeness. When the show finally confirmed it, it felt like the least surprising revelation ever. Smithers shows the Lambda archetype not in flamboyance, but in quiet, coded devotion, an outsider role that still made him beloved. These fictional Lambdas show how wide the archetype stretches, from the silly to the sinister, from comedy to tragedy.
Oh my God.
Who do you think is the most Lambda character of all time? Freddie Mercury? Smithers? Or maybe someone I didn't mention? Drop it in the comments. I'm curious which Lambda you'd crown king. Traits of the Lambda male. So what makes a Lambda? Lambda, let's break it down. Outsider sexuality, not playing the straight dominance game. Flamboyance. From Elton's glasses to Cam's drama, Lambda is often bigger than life. Tragedy and struggle. Oscar Wilde, George Michael, Renly. The Lambda path often clashes with society. Cultural influence. Lambdas often shape style, art, fashion, humor, with their unapologetic flamboyance. Ambiguity. Some lambdas are out and proud, others coded and closeted. Lambda isn't about winning or losing the hierarchy game. It's about dancing to a different song altogether. How lambdas compare to other ranks. Lambda versus alphas. Alphas rule by force. Lambdas rule by flair. Freddie Mercury could command a stadium as well as any alpha general. Lambda versus bravos. Bravos find purpose in loyalty and service. Lambdas find purpose in standing apart. One builds the system, the other decorates it in sequins. Lambda versus deltas. Deltas are the everyman blending into the crowd. Lambdas are the showman who refuses to. One keeps society moving, the other paints it pink. Lambda versus gammas. Gammas seethe with bitterness. Lambdas redirect their energy into culture. One writes angry manifestos, the other writes hit singles. Lambda versus sigmas. Sigmas drift in shadows and ambiguity. Lambdas shine in spotlights. Both are outsiders, but one hides while the other struts. Lambda versus omegas. Omegas are excluded against their will. Lambdas often exclude themselves by choice, but then build their own subculture. The lambda is not competing in the same sport. While the rest of the hierarchy is playing football, Lambda showed up with a glitter cannon and a keytar. Do you think Lambda even belongs in the hierarchy? Some might argue that Lambda isn't a rank at all. It's just a category of sexuality. What do you think? Let's see your takes in the comments. Women and the Lambda. Here's the twist. Women are usually the lens through which we judge other ranks. Alpha dominates them. Beta supports them. Delta is there. Gamma resents them. Omega fails them. Sigma ignores them. But Lambda. Women often adore Lambdas, not as lovers, but as confidants, allies, icons. Think of the archetype of the gay best friend in media. Women feel safe, entertained, supported, without the sexual tension. This gives Lambdas a unique place, outside the male-female competition, often deeply entwined with women's lives.
Gay, 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 gay.
Critique and cultural reflection. So, does Lambda really belong in the hierarchy? Or is it just boxing them off as outsiders? Critics say it's lazy. Orientation isn't a status rank. Putting Lambda below Omega feels like prejudice baked into the system. But others argue Lambda is necessary because gay men really do experience male status differently. And maybe that's the point. The hierarchy isn't about fairness. It's about describing realities, even uncomfortable ones. Lambda reminds us that the straight male ladder doesn't capture everyone. That brings us full circle. We've gone through every rank: Alpha, Bravo, Beta, Gamma, Delta, Sigma, Omega, and now Lambda. What did we learn? That men are complex, that no one fits perfectly into a single box, that the hierarchy is less about labeling your life than it is about understanding the roles people play in the social game. Some men lead, some support, some resent, some drift, some collapse. Some yearn for other men instead, and some break the system entirely. The hierarchy isn't the truth. It's a lens, a tool, a way to laugh, criticize, and maybe learn something about ourselves.
You are gay.
And here's the good news. We're not done yet.
Oh my.
Because in the next video, I'm going to help you figure out where you might fit in the hierarchy. Alpha, Gamma, Sigma, or maybe you've got a little Lambda flair you never noticed. Think of it like a personality test, but spicier. Stay tuned. If you enjoyed this breakdown of the Lambda male, hit like, drop a comment with your Lambda takes, and subscribe so you don't miss the Find Your Rank episode. Because whether you're an alpha, an omega, or somewhere in between. One thing's clear: this hierarchy isn't complete without you.